What is your first memory of being in a church? I'm what some would call a cradle Anglican. I first heard this term in seminary school and thought it was a bit strange. This week, I looked up the term cradle Anglican online and stumbled upon a website called Dictionary of Christianese. You can find just about anything online now. This website defines a cradle Anglican as a variant form of the term cradle Christian, which in my case means I grew up in a household in which Anglicanism was practiced. Fun fact from the Christianese website, the earliest known usage of the term cradle was Cradle Catholic in print in 1864. When I first heard it, I remember thinking the term cradle Anglican was quite funny because, well, when I was in a cradle, I didn't have much choice in any matter, let alone my own faith. Since my childhood, I've experienced worship with different denominations and different faiths. However, even with all of its variation, its beautiful liturgy, and even sometimes its uncomfortable pews, the Anglican tradition is home. And home is comforting and meaningful for me. I have memory snippets of being in church when I was a child, flashes of Sunday school and communion, and sitting in the pews playing with the books. However, my first full and clear memory of being in church was probably when I was a preteen. I had just joined the choir, and I remember sitting in the choir stalls in a new and very uncomfortable cassock and surplice. Not that I knew that those were the names of what I was wearing at the time. It was a morning prayer Sunday at my church, and I remember I had no idea what was going on. I would sit and stand and sing with everyone else, but I wasn't quite sure why this church Sunday felt like it had far more cardio and aerobics in it than usual. I wasn't sure what the Venite or Benedictus was. And at the end of the service, I wasn't sure why we didn't have communion. I actually remember thinking that I must have had it and just not been paying attention. As the choir processed out of the church at the end of the service, I must have looked just as puzzled on the outside as I felt on the inside. A sides person who had been standing near the back of the church approached me and nudged me a little with their elbow and said, "Don't worry. It's a bit confusing for everyone, but we all get the hang of it eventually. Or we try our best and God smiles just the same." I don't know if the priest or preacher would be happy about it, but I remember these words more clearly than any prayer or sermon that day. It's one of my first memories of being in a church. The people. Rather, the kindness, grace, and playfulness of this person who was at church. This memory continues to ground and drive me now as I preside and officiate over liturgies that have been in our tradition for hundreds of years, but often have new and creative moments. Especially in the world we're living in today, where many of us are worshiping online or in our homes with new and long-standing resources alike, I'm glad to have this memory because I believe God is smiling on us just the same. I invite you to reflect on this question yourself. What is your first memory of being in a church? Who were you with? What stands out? What parts of this memory are unclear? As you explore this for yourself, I would love to hear your midweek musing. It is an honor to grow in faith, even while apart.